Hi, welcome back to another episode of Non-Traditional Headspace. This is Denise. So, hello there, humans and non-humans. Today's episode, I'm going to be discussing something that is very, very personal to me. It's going to be Mother's Day in a lot of parts and countries of the world during May. So I thought it was a good opportunity to talk about this topic, considering that this is a topic that I am still navigating as we speak to, try to figure out which is the best way of approaching my relationship with my mom, how to improve it, and what things can I start doing in order to make that happen, like improve my relationship with my mom. So before I get into it, I want to make really, really clear that number one, I love my mother with all my heart. Like, I love her like I would, do anything for her. And what I'm going to be talking about today is not coming from a place of hate. It's not coming from a place of me trying to bash my own mom, or me trying to people thinking or portraying her as something despicable, or someone who has done things so wrong, or by no means. So just to clarify, making that quite clear today, I love my mother. Okay, I love my mother with all my heart. And yeah, because I know that there's a lot of people that they take things the wrong way and they misinterpret things a lot and take things a lot of times way too personal. So just to make sure, because I know there's people watching that know me and know my family. And I also wanted to clarify that, because I have talked about things and I think people are misinterpreting a few things that I have spoken about in other episodes. And they think I'm speaking directly about someone in my family, which I'm not. So with that being said, let's get started then. As I said, it's about mothers. Mother's Day is coming soon. So I want to talk about my relationship with my mom and how it relates to what a lot of other people could be experiencing or have experienced already, if you're a very grown adult as I am, with their own mothers. So it's not the story of everyone, for sure, right? This is not the story of everyone's relationship with their mother. But I just feel that it's important for us to understand that if you are somebody that comes from a certain age group, like I am, you are able to identify that a lot of things happen because of how we were raised. And a lot of things happen as well because they can be tied to generational things. And in my case, I do think it has to do a lot with generational things, because I am 100% sure that a lot of what my mom did is related to how she was brought up by her own mom and her mom by her mom as well. If that makes sense, like generational or transcendental situations. So to explain that better, we're going to be using a term that I have identified that applies to my relationship with me and my mom, which is having a passive, emotionally unavailable mom or mother relationship. And I'm talking about my relationship with my mother. It's a term that I have discovered recently because I have been trying to analyze a lot of the things that trigger other things in my life. And I have been also trying to understand as well how to control the emotions that come with those triggers that I get, that sometimes we don't even know that they are completely related. But as far as you get analyzing yourself, you realize that it has to do a lot with things that have to do with your childhood, the way you were raised, the relationships you have. And in this case, again, it has to do with my particular relationship with my mother. One of the conversations that I've been having with my therapist slash coach, like I like to call her, is that she asked me once, like, well, because I've been sharing a lot of what happened to me younger, when I was younger. And she said, well, Denise, have you ever had the chance of speaking all about what has happened to you with your mom? Like, who did you talk to before when you were so much younger? And I told her, well, no. Unfortunately, that was not an option for me, because it was not because she didn't want to. I don't think she really knew how to do it. Like, I don't think till this day she's able to do it. There's something that happened there that I still don't even know 100% what happened for it to be that way, but I really want to know. The point is that I have not been able to have deep conversations with my mom, and I can't remember when was the last time I ever did. When she asked me that and I answered like, no, and then she said something like, well, I'm really sorry that you were not able to have that communication with your mom. That's when it hit me, because I was like, for me, it's always been like, okay, it's normal, like I'm okay with it. Like, I'm okay with it. And you ask me and I would say, I'm okay with it. Like, that's my relationship with her. And it is what it is, that freaking phrase that I don't like a lot, but it is what it is. And I have accepted it for so long that it's like normalcy to me. I never saw it that way. Like, but when somebody tells you like, I'm really sorry that you didn't have that, then you kind of think like, what did I miss out? Like, why would somebody else think that they need to say they feel sorry for me not having that? It's a matter of ego too, because nobody likes to be pitied. Nobody likes to feel like somebody else is feeling pity for you. And in that case, in that moment, I was like, why is she telling me I'm sorry? Like, it's not a big deal. Like, I've lived this way. And then we started talking about, and we came to that conclusion that, because I shared all of what it was like, my relationship with my mom, or the lack of relationship with my mom, because there is a lack of relationship with her, actually. That's when that term came up, the passive, emotionally unavailable person that she was. And I'm about to explain how did I come up with that association with my mother having to do with it and my relationship with her. As I said, a lot of things have to do from the way we're all raised and the things we learn or pick up through our life. So I realized that my mother, she has always been a hard working woman. Like, she's turning 70 years old this year and she still works, which is absolutely abnormal to most of first world country society types, because a lot of people by then are already retired and enjoying the fruits of their labor through retirement. Unfortunately, in Honduras, that doesn't exist, and circumstances in her life have demanded her to keep working for as long as she is. I'm surprised. I really thank God for that, because I don't know where she would be if she wasn't able to have the opportunity of keep working for so long. Like, that helps her a lot as well. But anyway, that has a lot to do because she has been so much focused. She had 4 children, it's 4 of us, and it's a lot of responsibility, not only economically, but we're talking about the whole responsibility of trying to connect with 4 children at the same time with very different age ranges. There's only 2 of us who have similar ages. The rest of them have like really different age range and gaps. And it's not easy. Like, I bet it's not. And raising children and being there. But at some point, I think it got a little bit worse, And it is And we're talking about when it get worse. When I say it got worse, I don't mean like it was this holy crap, so traumatizing childhood. Actually, I've said this before. The best years of my life recall to my childhood, the happiest ones that I've ever had. So that's not it. Like, I didn't have like this totally traumatizing childhood, but things could have been better. And that is what we're talking about today. Things could have been better. So what I mean is, it got worse because the communication got worse due to circumstances. She was always out working. My dad too. Both of them worked full time when we were really young, when I was in school. And we found ourselves by ourselves a lot when we were getting older. We were raised by our grandmother, basically, because she was the one who spent all the afternoons with us after we got back from school. And then later on, my parents would arrive at the end of the evening, and my dad would really try to make an effort to connect with us. You know, he would take us out on walks. I remember those are the things that I remember the most, you know, like we were going out for walks and or riding the bicycles, and then he would buy us a snack from the little snack store that we have, the pulperias in Honduras. Like, it was wonderful. Like, I love that. But if you see, I'm talking more about my dad than my mom when I have those memories. And I'm sure it's because my mom was doing other things back at home. I don't think she was just crossing her arms. Of course not. I know that. I know she was not doing that. She was probably attending other things. But we started missing things, you know, like in a relationship, as a mother-daughter relationship. And it got worse because relationships were affected a lot and are affected a lot in families in Honduras or Latin American countries, again, having to do with religion. And this is something that I know and I'm aware of, that comes from generational, you know, inheritance, because my grandmother she's still alive. She's turning 100 this year as well, which is her mom. She is very, 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 very too much religious. It's okay, you know, I respect it. I have always respected it about my parents, about my family, everything. I've respected it. And there's a part of me that also has that religion attachment. And it's because I was raised in that environment. But at the same time, I learned, because we're all individuals, you know, persons that can analyze things and interpret things and make decisions on their own. So as an adult, as I was growing up, I decided that there's certain patterns and things about that relationship with religion that my family has that I was not going to follow on because I didn't agree with it. And part of the things that I did agree with was that, for instance, my family from the women's side always puts a lot of decision making and responsibility towards men. You know, like, it's not that they're washing their hands, but they're kind of, you know, because they follow the commandment that I'm not even sure if it's really quite written and expressed that way for that reason in the Bible, but that you should just allow the man of the house, which in this case could be my dad or my grandfather or any kind of father figure like person that women look up to in their life, in my family, and let them make all the important decisions about how the child should be raised, how the child should be punished if they're, you know, misbehaving, how the financial decisions should run sometimes, and etc. I disagree with that 100%. By the way, I think if you're with someone and you call yourself and that person partners, there's a reason for that word to exist as well, partnership, you know, because the idea is for you to complement each other and not just emasculate one person in that relationship and let the other person make all the important decisions. I even spoke about it a little bit when I covered in the episode about domestic violence and abuse. It's some kind of abuse, but it's the scariest part is when you allow it. So just to keep it back in topic here, this is where I think me and my mom got even more and more separated. She started getting more into religion, and everything she talks about has to do with religion, till this day. Like, she is a very religious person as well. So when I realized that I have disconnected completely with my relationship with her, is because I cannot hold conversations like a normal human being as in a relationship with a mom and daughter without having a lot of the conversation being driven by Bible verses the entire time. It's like they're preaching to me. At no point I felt for all my grown-up years that she was able to have a conversation where she would talk to me as a woman, trying to teach me lessons as a woman. And I liked that, and I learned a lot of things on my own. And luckily, I had people that were able to guide me in other ways. And in a lot of ways, I have been quite independent as well. And I have been able to make wise decisions, I would say, because things can turn out badly, if you allow somebody just to figure out things on their own. I'm talking about things in general, about how you should deal with relationships. And I think a lot of that has to do as well with the way I have approached personal relationships as well. Because I felt like when the first times I was ever seeing someone or dating someone, I felt like I had that pressure, of allowing them to take more control of things when I shouldn't have, And that's a shame, because those are the things that, like I said, you pick up from what you've learned and what you're taught or what you see in your relationships, in family and generations. So that's what I think created a bigger separation between me and my mom when it came to having a relationship. It got to a point where I just thought, you know what, I'm not going to be able to fix that anymore. Like, it's too late. And that's how I accepted it. In the end, like, that's how I came up to accept it. Like, that's how things are, and I love her, so I just, brushed it off, and that's how I deal with it. Like, I dealt with it by saying it's going to be that way, and I can't change it. When in reality is, I do miss her as a mom. Like, I wish I could have done better in my relationship with her. I wish I couldn't have lost her to religion, And I had a lot of resentment about that, religion towards my parents, because I thought that it was too out of control sometimes, In the way in which they would like try to maintain the strict rules had to do a lot with religion and things that you learn through religion in their case. And I resented that a lot for so long that I had let my dad know, but I have never spoken to my mom. Like, I kind of tell her, I have told her sometimes, but I don't think she ever listens 100%. Like, you can hear things, but you don't listen, So I think that's the case. And again, I don't think she's going to change that about her. Although I wish she would be willing to open up a little more. Because I definitely, now that somebody else has pointed it out as well, feel like I missed out on a lot, apparently, when it comes to having a relationship with my mother. So that's where that term again comes to play. The one where she was emotionally unavailable for me for so long, and she still is. Again, I don't hate her for that. Like, I think, this is where I want to talk to all mothers out there. I'm not a mom, and that's probably a reason why I have decided not to be a mom yet. Or I don't know if I ever will, because I don't want to make mistakes, and nobody wants to make mistakes. It's a huge responsibility, and I just wish I didn't have all these things that I have to deal with on my own. And I was talking to a friend recently, and he said, you know what, sometimes once you have your child, things change. There's something in you that changes, and you start trying to make better decisions in general. So maybe only if I have a child I would realize, but at the same time, I don't feel like it. So to the moms that are out there who are raising children, or you who also has your mom still alive and are trying to navigate better ways to have better relationship with your mom as well, like I am. I just want to tell you that I understand, and we should understand that we're doing the best we can with the tools that we get in life, and none of us is perfect. Like, there's no guidebook. I mean, there's a lot of books out there, that tell you or suggest as to how you should try to act in order to get better results with the person that you're raising, or in that case, with the people that you're trying to build better relationships with. But the truth is, only we know what we go through with each of our family members or your children, if you have children of your own. So you're doing fine, There's never, if you're still together, like if you still have your children, if you're still around your children, if you still have your mom around, it's never too late, to start over and try to improve things. I'm not telling you, because I'm not the example here to be set, to tell you that things will be better 100% and that you will magically get to have this wonderful relationship that you never had. But it can improve. And sometimes it takes one person to make that decision of trying to make that change. And you should try. We should try, actually. Because it's important, At the end of the day, this person gave birth to you, or they raised you, and they cared for you, and they did it with love. Again, they did it the way they thought was the best way to do it. I know there's cases where it's very, very horrible, and there's no justification as to why people act a certain way in those cases. And in these ones, like mine, which are not a big deal, like other people, who have gone through a lot of very abusive and violent relationships with their own mothers, we have to forgive in general. We just have to learn to forgive and, again, try to make things for the best. Whether it's just by acknowledging things and learning from them and accepting that things could have been better if it already transcribed. And if it's not yet, let's try to make things better, because it's on us, like in most of relationships in general, with people in general. It's on us to try to be, again, what I always say, a better version of ourselves. It's not easy. I work on that every day, believe me. I have to manage my anger sometimes, and my triggers, like I said, my emotions. And in this case, I have to navigate again the steps I will have to take again to try to approach my mom and try to improve my relationship with her, because she's still alive and I really want that to change. And I know it will be hard because she was raised this way, but also if you are in this type of relationships and you're able to identify them with your family and mother in particular, just let them know, because maybe it's earlier than later right now for you to rescue things faster. It's not okay, because these people, when they get cataloged in the term of passive, emotionally unavailable, the way in which they're passive, like I said, is because they allow their partners or other people to make decisions for them, and they don't show up when they should as a mom, like just by being there and standing up for you when the times are needed. Like if you have both parents, you know what I'm talking about, if you have both parents, or if you have a partner and you are the mom and you're letting your partner or your dad was the person who was always scolding the child or the children, and the mom never gets involved because he's the authority of the house, that's not okay. Like, the mom has a word to say. Like, they should collaborate in the ways they want to discipline their children and raise them both together, and they should be in agreement with that. And I think, again, it has to do a lot with religious background in our society in Latin America, which is a shame, because you're giving too much power to somebody, and that's never good. Passive, again, is also just not being there emotionally. Again, my parents have always been so responsible economically. My mom, like I said, very, very hardworking woman. I know that everybody who knows her knows that about her. But I wish we could have had a better relationship before, all this time. Because I have gone through a lot as a person, as a woman. And unfortunately, I cannot say that I have shared. And I talked about this in an episode as well about friendships, people calling their mom their best friend. I said I don't believe in it, which I stand by it still. Because there's a lot of things that I wouldn't tell my mom, even if we had the best relationship in the world. I know there's a lot of things that I would keep to myself, or at least share it with other type of people. But what I mean is, there's a lot of things that I wish I would have shared with her, and I was not able to because she was not available. What's to be done next? Again, trying to improve that relationship. And to wrap it up, considering that we're talking about that it's going to be Mother's Day soon, like I said, moms, you're doing fine. And it's not easy. I cannot even start to understand how difficult it is, but I've seen it. I've seen my youngest sister with her recently born child, and I love it. I'm in love with her daughter. It's the opportunity of doing things right. I have a lot of nieces and nephews. Not a lot, like a huge number, but I do have already my fair share of nieces and nephews. I wish that relationship would be better with them as well. I need to work on that too. You see, there's a lot of things to be done. So you're doing fine, mothers. Just in this case, after what I have shared about what I think I went through and I'm trying to make better, maybe this just helps you to understand that it's very, very, very important for you to have a close relationship with your children. And more than just being there economically or financially or providing like physical stuff, sometimes having a lot of good communication is determining what your child is going to be in life and how they're going to remember you. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to this episode. And please don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the content that we're putting up. And remember that you can find us in all social media, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, where you can not only listen but watch the videos as well, YouTube as well, and Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So see you guys next time. Have a good day. Happy Mother's Day to all mothers around the world. And I love you, Mom. Bye.